the way that she was, it was definitely a senseless act.
James had just spoken to the Daleville mother of a high school graduate and a 14-year-old earlier that day, as their sons are best friends.
I actually picked up our children to go to the rec center, and she was up in spirits like always. She walked around laughing all day, nothing but positive energy. She was a loved woman.
Today, we will be in Daleville County, Alabama, a county located in the southeastern part of Alabama with around 50,000 residents in the county. Dale County's two largest cities, Ozark, which is the county seat, and Daleville, form two of the borders of Fort Rucker, Alabama, one of the largest military installations in the state, and is the home of the Army Aviation and a primary training facility for most of the military helicopter pilots in the free world. In the small town of Daleville, there is not much going on, and the town has a low crime rate compared to the rest of the United States. So when a crime took place right outside of the Army base, it came as a big shock to the small town. 37-year-old Stephanie McCray was born May 7, 1987, in Mobile, Alabama. She was the youngest of her parents' children and grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Growing up, she enjoyed piano and dance and attended Hoover City Schools and graduated from Spain Park High School in 2005. She went on to attend both University of North Alabama and Jacksonville State University, but did not complete her higher education. However, that did not stop her success, as she went on to have a career at the Dothan Police Department as a dispatcher. Also, a few years after graduating high school, she became a mother to her first son, who is now 17, and in 2010, she gave birth to her second and last son, who is now 14. After having her last child, she eventually separated from his father and ended up in a relationship with a man named Ricky McCray. Ricky was already a father to 3 girls and was a hard-working auto and diesel mechanic. The two would eventually combine families and get married. The pair appeared to have a great relationship for many years, and they both loved each other's kids like their own. Stephanie was described as an outgoing person with an animated personality. She was always willing to help and always available. Thus, she worked in many areas that allowed her to serve others in her community. In 2011, she even received the Captain's Recognition Award while working as a dispatcher at the Dothan's Police Department, and she enjoyed what she did. Outside of work, she was a football and basketball mom and was known for being the loudest sideline cheerleader for her boys, who were her true pride and joy. Stephanie was also equally as excited for any of her 3 stepdaughters' accomplishments, and she loved her family wholeheartedly. As for Ricky, his 3 girls call him the man that makes it happen. From the looks of his and his kids' social media, he seemed to be a very hands-on dad and a great dad to his girls. Whatever he was able to do to give them a good life, he would do, and the girls appeared to adore him just the same. He was a provider and a protector, and even posed with his weapons for one of his daughter's prom photo shoots jokingly to show remember to get her home type of situation, and her dad don't play. So when a shooting occurred on July 14, 2024, no one was prepared to get the horrific news. On that day in July, police say a shooting occurred in the parking lot of a McDonald's on Daleville's Avenue near the entrance of Fort Novosel in Daleville, Alabama. According to the employees at the McDonald's, a woman drove up in the drive-thru line and placed an order. As she pulled around to the drive-thru window, she told the cashier that her passenger had a gun and to call the police. No sooner than the woman, who was later identified as 37-year-old Stephanie McCray, said that, her passenger took that gun and multiple shots rang out. Stephanie was left in the car shot multiple times, and the passenger, a black male wearing red shorts and a white tank top, fled from the vehicle. 911 was called, and when the authorities arrived, they found Stephanie tragically unalive on the scene. During this time, McDonald's employees would give authorities an account of what happened and what went down, but the suspect was long gone. Video obtained from a local business appeared to corroborate this story and showing a black male with the red shorts and a white tank top running south behind several businesses.
Stephanie McCray was in the drive-thru line of the McDonald's on Daleville Avenue in Daleville when police say the person in the passenger seat of her vehicle shot her 3 times. Police say following the shooting over the weekend, the suspected shooter who knew McCray fled the scene, leaving the vehicle and the body of McCray in the McDonald's parking lot. McCray was taken to Enterprise Medical Center, where she was later pronounced. The scene of the shooting is just blocks away from the entrance of Fort Novacell, a Wiregrass Army base that is heavily guarded and surrounded by surveillance cameras. Investigators are trying to recover that footage from the base and other nearby businesses, hoping that leads them to an arrest in the case.
After reviewing the footage, investigators started looking into Ricky McCray, the husband of Stephanie. It was learned in their investigation that the two had an off and on relationship and were living separately at the time. It would take only a few days and the police had a lead. The Daleville Police Department was able to gather enough evidence to secure a search warrant for the residence and the vehicles owned by Ricky McCray. McCray didn't become a suspect until 2 or 3 days after the shooting, and he was even at the hospital checking on Stephanie when she was pronounced unalive. The physical evidence recovered by the search warrant was enough to include a positive ID and arrest of Ricky McCray for unaliving his wife on July 18, 2024.
As police say the couple was in an on-again, off-again relationship and that they had just discussed their relationship hours before the incident. Ricky McCray is charged with in the case, accused of shooting his wife Stephanie 3 times, which later killed her. Police say the McCrays were arguing in the drive-thru line of the McDonald's in Daleville, an argument that could be heard through the intercom. When they got to the pickup window, police say Stephanie asked the worker to call 911 because the man in the passenger seat had a gun. The worker allegedly saw the guy holding the gun, closed the drive-thru window, and ran away until hearing 3 gunshots. An investigator on the stand today during McCray's and Nia's law hearing says that McCray didn't become a suspect until 2 to 3 days after the shooting.
So Ricky, Stephanie's other half for more than 10 years, and the protective father, allegedly shot his wife multiple times, once in the chest and twice in the face. I'm sure he was the last one that everyone thought did it. Ricky himself even changed his profile picture to his wedding picture the very next day after committing the crime. Remember, this was before he was arrested on the 18th of July, and people were in his comments saying, "Sorry, praying for you," and basically, "We're here for you and stay up," not even knowing that it was him all along. Ricky is currently charged with taking a life and is sitting behind bars with no bond. Ricky's request for bond was denied on Thursday, July 25th, and the judge said the release of the defendant McCray on his own recognizance or on an unsecured appearance bond will not reasonably assure the defendant's appearance at future court proceedings, and that the defendant being at large poses a real and present danger to others and the possibility of flight. Ricky, however, wants a bond to be set in his case. He says he will show up to court, has no prior felonies, and has lived in the same house for over 14 years and owns his own mechanic business. But the state says Ricky shouldn't get a bond because he has multiple misdemeanor charges. These charges range from menacing to prostitution in 2 different states. The state also says Ricky is a concern for the community because the shooting occurred in a very public area. Even with all the evidence, Ricky says he was at his home in Ozark, Alabama most of the day and never committed the crime. In spite of that, police say they have 3 workers at the restaurant who were witnesses, surveillance video of nearby businesses of the suspect running from the McDonald's, and video of Ricky's car leaving the area minutes after the shooting, plus video of his vehicle on the road in Newton that he drove to get from Daleville to his home in Ozark just minutes after the shooting.
But after getting surveillance video that showed a suspect running behind several businesses, they asked family members of Stephanie and they identified the suspect as Ricky. Police say Ricky told them that he was at his home in Ozark most of the day and didn't commit the crime. However, evidence recovered allegedly shows Ricky's vehicle in Newton on a road you drive to get from Daleville to Ozark just minutes after the shooting.
So from witnesses to video surveillance, it all points to Ricky. He played in her loved ones' faces, and they appeared to have no clue what he did until he was arrested. Just heartbreaking. A beautiful life stolen for no reason. Stephanie was said to be outgoing, high-spirited, and the life of the party. There was never a dull moment when she was around, and a lot of people's lives have been drastically changed with her absence. My thoughts and prayers go out to her children and other loved ones in this difficult time. Stephanie's life mattered, and she should still be alive, living her life. So please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.